the brand new Netflix documentary that rapper Curtis 50 Cent Jackson took part in being an executive producer of, which basically means he helped financially release this hip project, and it's called Sean Combs' The Reckoning. And after hearing numerous encounters and accusations along with allegations of Sean, aka Diddy, aka Puffy, aka Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, he goes by so many pseudonyms, excuse me. Is it obvious to say that Sean Combs has always suffered from a Napoleon complex? Because I think about how, for instance, some people who actually dealt with him, from people who actually performed underneath his record label Bad Boy / Arista Records, to people who happen to have dealings with him, what it may have been on behalf of being in relationships with, well, casual relationships with him or being friends with him. After hearing so many accounts of him belittling people, just to be able to make his way more and more higher to the top, to um, tossing his weight around, so to speak, once he became a much more prominent figure. Once again, is it obvious to say, or does he happen to have Sean, once again, A.K. Diddy, A.K. P. Diddy, A.K. Puff Daddy, A.K. Puffy Combs, happen to have a Napoleon complex? And for some of you who may have never heard about a Napoleon complex, may want me to give an example. It's when a person who's a short stature, specifically a man who is under 6 feet tall, may happen to have insecurities due to him being so short in stature. It may happen to have some kind of serious problem with being short, especially according to the average woman's standards, on behalf of how there are quite a bit of women who have a height requirement in order to be able to be attracted to certain men. You know, some may not be able to date, or may have a certain a specific kind of problem dating a man under 6 feet tall. And because that some men, after being rejected by so many women back and forth due to his height of being under 6 feet tall, he may happen to develop some kind of insecurity pertaining to his height, and may try to do all he can to take it out on people by starting fights with random people, or altercations with random people, where it may be either verbal altercations or physical altercations. Or on the other hand, he may do all he can to try to achieve a certain level of his success, just to be able to compensate for his insecurities of dealing with having to be of such short stature, having to deal with, after having to deal with so many insults. As a perfect example, a perfect case in point of being teased all his life, pretty much from the time he may have been a kid to the time that he may have reached adulthood, just for being a short stature, and even having to deal with being rejected by females from being at such a short stature. That's how I look at it when Sean, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Puffy, aka Diddy Combs, the reason he happened to get under so many people's skins after hearing so many accounts of abuse from him, so many accounts of being demeaned by him. Even when I think about how, particular as far as the people who wanted to perform underneath his well, under his record label or on behalf of his record label, Bad Boy slash Arista Records, how it happened to be one particular incident, whereas he wanted some of them who wanted to be signed to his label as a result of appearing on the show Make Them Band, he had them walk so many miles just to get a cheesecake for him, which is, am I right or wrong? Is it not the sincerest form of flattery? And does it not remind you, for some of my people who may have pledged either sorority or fraternities, having to go through the same similar kind of process or procedure just to be able to get initiated into whichever secret society, aka fraternity, aka sorority? I'm just saying, because this guy happens to be very mentally disturbed, very sick in the head. Not only that, but after hearing how he had to go through such horrific abuse, judging from a childhood friend that he has grown up as a child by the hands of his mother, maybe that's why he happened to grow up, once he reached adulthood, to be such a piece of crap, such a pain in the ass, if you know what I mean. Such an a-hole, to the point where once he reached the level of power that he did and became such a big prominent record executive and businessman, how he started to let that go to his head. And maybe due to how he happens to be short in stature, because judging from my understanding, he happens to be 5'11" in height, which to some women, according to some women's standards, is still not tall enough in order to be able to get with them. You know, some women still, there's still some women who may consider 5'11" as being short, even though that's a little bit above average height, because the average man in the U.S. alone is 5'9". Maybe that's why, not only, and once again, due to how high, and thanks for joining, due to how he endured so much horrific abuse from his mom on behalf of a childhood friend, how the childhood friend went into detail about what he witnessed Sean Combs going through as a small kid due to the hands of his mom, and then due to him suffering from being short in stature by being 5'11". Maybe these are the main two reasons why Sean Combs happens to have such an unpleasant demeanor about him, and happens to always has believed in doing all he could to push people's buttons, rub them the wrong way, so to speak, just to be able to reach such a height or level of success that he happened to reach. Anyways, and like always, I'm going to end this here live stream. Before I end it for good, make sure to like the live stream and the video, make sure to comment, make sure to share, and last but not least, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, and by the way, make sure y'all, for some of y'all who may have access to Netflix, make sure when you get a chance, when you get some downtime, to tune into the whole entire documentary. It's a 4-part series, and it's called Sean Combs: The Reckoning, that you could be able to stream right now via Netflix, because some of the information, some of the accounts, different encounters some people may have described after dealing with him, some of you may find pretty disturbing, pretty horrific, and also at the same time some pretty informative for some of you who may not know hardly anything about Sean Combs, who I would say really rose to the top once he had the now deceased Christopher Wallace, who went by the moniker, the rap name or the stage name, the notorious B.I.G., who was also known as formerly Biggie Smalls. That really propelled Sean Diddy Combs to a whole other level of superstardom. And not only that, but especially once the notorious Miss Elizabeth, once the notorious B.I.G., formerly also known as Biggie Smalls, happened to pass away, that actually made him bigger than he actually was, as opposed to before the notorious B.I.G.'s death. I'm just saying. Anyways, I'm out, folks.